Hello, my name is Kevin Rice. I'm the Extension Entomologist at the University of Missouri, and today I'm just going to give a brief update on spotted lanternfly. So spotted lanternfly is an invasive insect that was first detected in Pennsylvania in early 2014, and it's native to Asia, and it's a phloem feeder and causes severe economic damage to grapes. And this is what the adult looks like. It has these very distinct pink wings with black polka dots. In the early summer, when they emerge, the females are smaller. And as they build up their fat reserves in feeding, they become much larger. And that's where they get the name lanternfly. If you look at this abdomen here, it sort of looks like a lantern. They do not bioluminesce like fireflies or anything. So that's what the adults look like. The nymphs have a little more variability in their coloration and size. So when they're younger, they're small and black. They sort of look like a large tick. They also have that distinct polka dot characteristic coloring. And then as they get larger, they have this red coloration. One of the benefits of this particular invasive species is there are not a lot of native insects that look similar. So it's somewhat easy to identify. It does have overlapping generations, so it's not uncommon when you have an invaded region to see younger nymphs and older nymphs and adults feeding on grape at the same time. The eggs are very cryptic, so they're very hard to see. This is an egg mass here that's on a hardwood tree. And the problem with spotted lanternfly is it sort of indiscriminately will lay their eggs on any flat, smooth surface, including metal. So they're hard to see the eggs. And because they lay them on metal and any flat surfaces, that's the problem for their spread. So they're hitchhiking. They found these egg masses on picnic tables. They found them on stone, on wheels, and on railroad cars and mass transit vehicles. So that leads to a large potential for it to spread rapidly throughout the United States. So the damage that we've seen in vineyards to this date are you get these large populations feeding on the vines. As I said, they're phloem feeders. You get initial wilting and leaf curling, but you get a substantial amount of honeydew production. And eventually with large populations, it does actually kill vines. In the mid-Atlantic, where in Pennsylvania, where it's been established for several years now, you can see it went from 4 insecticide sprays up to over a dozen per year. And the cost is just astronomical to control this insect. Unfortunately, the growers have no other options simply because, it's an invasive species, doesn't have a whole lot of natural enemies, and it causes vine death. As far as other crops, it does seem to feed on some other crops such as corn occasionally and soybean, but there is no reports of any severe economic damage in those commodities. So that's important to note. We have seen it feeding on those plants, but growers are not reporting any damage. So grape is the only agricultural commodity that is having severe damage at this point in time. This is just a quick video showing the behavior. They don't actually feed on the grapes, but this is sort of the clustering behavior you see on the vines, high populations. If you look here, you can see that's the honeydew squirting out. And again, they're pretty easy to identify. So that's what we're looking for potential establishment. They do feed on hardwoods. It's a little unusual behavior, but they feed directly on the trunk of things like maple and walnut trees. And this isn't uncommon to see in homeowners' backyards in Pennsylvania and in Philadelphia right now. They have a massive campaign to try to scrape eggs and remove them, but it's a difficult task to do. So here's the current distribution of spotted lanternfly in the United States. So the blue area is basically the epicenter of the invasion and the outbreak areas. What I want to call attention to are these purple dots. So they're in multiple states now. And if you look down here in North Carolina, these sort of sporadic ones that are also in Connecticut and in Massachusetts. And that leads me to believe that, this is the transport that we're seeing on railroad cars or vehicles. This is not an invasion front that jumped down here. Additionally, last year, they found dead specimens at airports in Michigan, Oregon, and California. So they were dead. We think they were in the cargo hold of planes, but they have the potential to move rapidly and pretty much become a problem anywhere in the United States at any given time. And this is the life history analysis and what habitats would be welcoming for spotted lanternfly. So you can see Missouri has a high probability of this pest establishing in the future. The weather here is likely to make spotted lanternfly establish and survive. The USDA is looking for classical biological control agents. So they've been in Asia, they've looked at several provinces, and they've identified 2 parasitoids that are both in quarantine facilities in the United States. So they have wasps that are basically making sure that they don't attack any beneficials before they would be regulated for release. So that's some hope, but we have to go through all the non-target testing first. So that could be a while. There was a fungus identified in Pennsylvania that is found killing them. So that's some hope that there might be some natural biological control with this fungus, but it's sort of too early to determine if this is actually going to reduce numbers enough in agricultural commodities. So the Department of Agriculture in Missouri is being proactive, and they are looking for spotted lanternfly because it can be transported by human vehicles. So in the last 2 years, they've spent time in 30 different counties, and they've surveyed hundreds of locations in these counties, in vineyards, looking for it. And the good news is, as of today, the spotted lanternfly has not been found in Missouri. The Department of Agriculture is continuing to look for this pest in Missouri throughout the state. They have a large team looking for this. So if you find something that looks like this, again, not many native species look like this, we ask you to take a picture. If you can collect it into a jar, that would be also helpful, and enter your location. And you can either call the Department of Agriculture in Missouri, here's the number, or email them. But again, that picture and or collecting the specimen will be extremely valuable for a positive identification and an action plan. With that, I just want to keep this brief, but there is more information at the Missouri Department of Agriculture. They have several brochures and more information on the life history of this. And that's what I'll leave with today. If you have any questions, my email is ricekev@missouri.edu. Thanks.